2nd, 2025. Anyone has any questions or comments to the modifications? If not, is there action on the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Yes for me. Mr. Pipes?
Yes.
Ms. Brenner?
Yes.
Mr. Brown? Oh, you can't, never mind, and you can't vote either. Never mind.
All right, that passes. Moving on. Sean, do you have a brief update for the Treasury Parks and Jewels Center?
Yes. We have, in the second generation fund, $522,793.24. And the project fund is $2,744. Excuse me, $2,768.
And everyone's still paying on time?
Yes.
Worth to mention what we have in our allocated funds from 2023 to 2025.
Excuse me, what was the
It's
question?
worth mentioning what we have in our 2023 funds, leading up to our 2025 funds, or allocation from the state.
So 2023 allocation was 576,000.
We have, what, about 304 left in it right now?
Correct.
Okay.
2024 allocation was approximately 716,000.
And that's still there?
Correct.
Okay.
And the current year, 2025, the allocation is approximately $967,000.
All right, thank you. Anyone have any questions about the treasury report? All right, going into matters discussed by the public. Louis, any questions this evening?
Yes, I have two questions, if you don't mind.
Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you. First is, how can I get the agenda reading from the last meeting? How will I get a copy of it first?
The agenda of the last meeting?
Yeah, the minutes.
Oh, the minutes?
Yeah.
We are approving them right now, so once they're approved, they'll be available to you.
Oh yeah, if you could notify me, I would appreciate it. If you could do that.
Okay.
Like I said, I couldn't make it. I had to take my mom to the hospital the same day as the meeting, but I wasn't able to make it. There any update fund from the government of New Jersey for the UEZ? Any additional funding?
There's no change.
No change?
Reallocated in 2025.
And for the loan project, State Fund, what's that is? What's the pretend about? Can you tell me about?
We're talking about
The loan project.
Under 7. So we are going to be discussing allocating $300,000 into our Good Neighbor Loan Program out of our 2023 allocated funding from the state.
Good. I would like to see any approval we can do for the Mahali trails, or any improvement for that.
Mount Holly trails are more of a recreation
Oh, okay.
than it is for economic development.
Okay. Thank you for it. That's all I have. All the questions I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Louis.
Louis, if you want to stop in the township, I can give you the minutes.
Okay.
Stop in my office.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Oh, do you have any questions this evening? Nothing?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah.
This is, I invited Sam to come tonight. Sam has taken a look at the shoestring building. He's a group of investors from Burlington County, Encore investors. They've done a bunch of work in this area, particularly in, Sam.
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Sam Jovaputra. I have two other partners, Dan Byard and Chad White. We all live in Mansfield in Columbus, New Jersey. And we, so I'll give you a little background of all of us. I am in the business, I do asset-based lending and factoring. It's receivable and inventory financing. So I have an office in Mansfield. We took the old municipal building and turned it into, I guess you could say more like a WeWork facility with various different tenants in there. So we have a lawyer, we have a school music teacher, we have a therapist, an environmental company. So we've got some cool people in there. So my other partner, Chad, he's in logistics. He's director of logistics for Utz, which is, everybody knows Utz potato chips. And Dan Byard's the other partner who grew up in Bordentown City, and he actually lives in the Outer Banks now. He handles our investments out there, but he actually works in pharmaceuticals. So we look at different projects in different towns, and we like to do really cool things. We like to take buildings that were neglected or I guess not really utilized to their full potential and turn them around. So I'll give you some examples of some projects we did. So one of the projects we've done is, if you go to downtown Columbus, years ago the municipal building moved out of town, and so did the police station, the fire department, which kind of crushed some of the businesses that were there. There was a bank there that closed down because of this loss, and there was a restaurant that closed down because of the loss. So we came in, we started purchasing different buildings, and we turned them around as we went through them. So one of the buildings was the old municipal building. It sat vacant for about 7 years. We came in, we redid the entire building. We started out looking to rent it at like a WeWork, right? But this was during COVID, so we figured we'll set up different offices. People want to get out of their house, get away from their families, they can come to work. What happened was every tenant that came in that building said, you know what, I want to sign a year lease. So we've got 8 tenants in there, fully occupied. We don't have any space left. So we have the old courtroom, which we're trying to convert to office space. But these are all small businesses that are local persons that either used to travel to Mount Laurel or travel to Hamilton or Princeton for office space. So we got them set up. Then we took the old police department, which was vacant for years too, and we bought that under auction. Believe it or not, we were the only ones that bid. The bidding went on till, I think it was midnight one night, and at around 11:59, I was texting the other partners. I'm like, guys, nobody else is buying this. We were hoping somebody else will do something. Nobody did, so we bought the building. So we ended, and funny enough, the next day somebody from the township called me and said, was that you guys that bid on it at 11:59 in like 48 seconds? I was like, that was us. So we ended up buying that building. That is now Lexi-licious Ice Cream Parlor. And so she does a fabulous job. It's a women-owned business. And part of that purchase, we purchased the fire department building. So it was an old fire department, left empty for years. We are in the process, construction started last week, to build a brick oven pizza and a barbecue place there. It's gonna be called Smoke and Fire. We have a liquor license associated with it. So that's kind of the 2 projects we did there. And then, I don't know if you remember, there was a general store in Columbus, a deli, pretty well known. We bought that strip mall. Again, 3 stores that were vacant, no tenants in there. We bought the strip mall, and within a couple of months after buying it, I was able to renovate the strip mall, make it look aesthetically pleasing. And now we have a yoga studio in there, a doctor's office, and a flower shop. So what we like to do is really take on projects that we think we could do a turnaround on. If you're familiar with Bordentown City, that's another spot we have. In Bordentown City, we bought the old Jesters, which is on the corner of Crosswicks and Farnsworth. That same thing was closed for a few years. We came in, redid the place, and we're the first place in the state of New Jersey restaurant with your self-poured beer wall. So we had people from the AG's office come and investigate, attorneys, just to make sure that we were properly making sure nobody was intoxicated. So the beer wall itself is dummy proof. If you drink over a certain limit based on the content of alcohol, it cuts you off. I've had many friends that are actually in law enforcement that have been drinking there and said, your beer wall cut me off. So it was just kind of funny because
Were the whole RFID chipped in the cups?
Yes, no, not in the cups. Actually, the RFD, the chips are in the card. So you would come up to our.
Tapping it and then
Yep.
registering your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have beer and wine, and you can also do mixed drinks, but we haven't ventured out to that. So our place is called Bordentown Square. If you ever make it to Bordentown City, it's a really cool spot. our goal is potentially to do a rooftop there one day. The town's asked us about it a few times, we just aren't ready to, get onto the rooftop, but
What's your thought for the shoestring?
same concept actually, so we like it for a restaurant, a liquor license would be key. We'd like to do a restaurant there, but we'd also like to do a rooftop there, because you'd have a view of the lake, you know, summertime, music outside, outdoor seating, make it a family-friendly environment. Any business that we take on, and not to, you know, say anything negative about any other business, but anything we do, it's always family-friendly. We wanna make sure we can take our kids there, because all of us have little kids, and we can take our spouses there without anybody feeling uncomfortable, so. It's kind of our thing, so if you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer any. And if you'd like, to view any of our projects, let me know.
About, what financing sources are you generally looking at for these projects?
So most of the time, we're taking bank financing for most of these projects, and a lot of these projects, we've actually put money out of our own pockets for these projects. Columbus especially, because I went to Northern Burlington, I graduated in '93 from there, I moved around a little bit, to Princeton, Hopewell, and then I moved back and built a house, but we just saw a town that was neglected, so we actually took money out of our pockets to buy these projects and do these projects, because when somebody comes in to fund a project, they first look at the aesthetics of the town, or they look at the demographics, and they'll say, yes, we're gonna give you this money, or no, we're not gonna give you this money. So we would love to, we'd love to do something in Mount Holly too, it would be cool, so.
The idea of a liquor license, is that a deal breaker?
It would be, because a liquor license is really important. Most people in my age group, and I'm 50 now, unfortunately, I turned 50, but when we go out, we like to have dinner, and we like to have a drink. We're not looking to get crazy drunk, but we are looking to have a drink. The beer wall concept is really cool. There's not many places with those beer walls, and we do get a lot of people that come through and say, I saw your beer wall, or I saw you on this app called Untapped, and we change the beers every day, sometimes once a week normally, but sometimes every day, based on new brews that come out from local breweries, so.
If the idea of a liquor license is like really, it's a huge hurdle at this point, I don't know how many are still free in the town.
I don't think there's any free right now.
Buzzes.
But
The old ops is for sale. The old ops building is
Yeah,
currently.
the old office building has been for sale.
What if you, you can't, I was just thinking combining a microbrewery, but you can't do the food there, I don't think.
No, but I think a liquor license is easily obtainable now, especially since Governor Murphy had passed the law. If your liquor license is inactive for a certain amount of time, you are actually forced to sell it, or the town could take it back. So I think in those cases, you're gonna find people that are sitting on pocket licenses are gonna have to unload their license. So, I mean, we would take the endeavor of getting the license. I mean, that's not a problem, but we would still love to do.
Yeah, right. I don't know what's gonna happen at this point, I mean, there are people here who probably know more than I do about this, but the idea of having, you participate in the UEZ program as part of your financing, that's one thing. The idea of something, the use of this building is really critical. I have a business on Main Street. If we want something that's compatible with what we see happening downtown is happening.
Yes.
You know, it's been a slow process, but it's coming along, pretty strong.
You guys have done an excellent job, actually. When Vince took us through, I was really impressed with what you've done, and I think it's great.
Yeah, our commercial district is doing, I think it's making the climb.
Yeah.
It really is, and people are coming into town. The events that we have bring people in, they see what the town's like, they like it, they start talking about it, and hopefully, over time, there's people who are interested, seeing the people that are interested in making an investment.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that you came here tonight.
No,
I've seen your
absolutely.
work.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, definitely, thank you for
Yeah.
coming tonight and give us an overview of kind of projects that you've worked on,
Yeah.
what your idea is.
Okay.
Should everything work out for you in Mount Holly?
We're probably gonna be looking at an RFP, do you think, on this?
We have to find out specifically, but mostly it'll be a RFP, it'll go out and we have to bid on that property since it's a township owned building.
We would love to, and if you'd like to come down at any time to Bordentown City, Bordentown Square, my name is Sam. Just ask for me or grab my number from Vince, we'll show you around, but I think a lot of other communities should look at what you guys have done here. Because there's a lot of towns, just, I travel a lot for business, like I said, I do factoring and asset-based lending, so I deal with manufacturers, importers, resin, you know, anybody who has a receivable that's looking for financing, that travel all over, and I've seen a lot of towns in our country that have just been neglected and really handicapped, and just to see what you guys have done here really is remarkable, and I think it's great. So even if we're not involved in this project, but I think you've just done a fabulous job. Anytime I talk to somebody in Mansfield about doing something downtown, I'm like, you guys should go to Mount Holly and check out what they did, so appreciate it, thank you for your time. Nice meeting you guys. Take care.
See, I'm curious.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't buy the Columbus Inn?
We did, we bought the Columbus Inn, yes, we own the Columbus Inn. It's, one of the most haunted places in the state of New Jersey, supposedly. And, so our plan there is, our biggest hurdle in Columbus or Mansfield is septic. We still have septic in town. And guidelines for septic have changed every year. So Peter Pugley, who's the original owner, if he didn't close more than 3 years, you would have been grandfathered in under the current septic. Since he was closed more than 10 years, we have to update the septic, and if I tell you the cost of the septic's almost like $500,000 to put a septic in. And I've been told if you put it in, it might fail you in 2-3 years, so just be aware. So we're trying to figure out logistically what makes sense for that project. We're doing the firehouse right now in Columbus, so once the firehouse is finished, that's our next hit. What we'd like to do there is, and we haven't even got in front of the town yet, but is really to do a restaurant, some retail, and maybe a mix, like a mini hotel, but like a boutique type hotel, so people that come into town could stay in town, spend time in town. It's really bringing people in and offering them various different options of places to stay. And I grew up in the hotel business. We actually own a place, if you ever go down to the Outer Banks, we own a place called the Solitaire Cottages. It's right on the water in Kitty Hawk, and we own 2 restaurants out there. One in Duck, which is called NC Coast. So if you ever make it out to Duck, North Carolina, let us know, because you cannot get a table in our restaurant. It's that busy. It's on the water, on the sound, but usually you have good food and a bad view. Here you've got great food and a great view, so, anyway, but thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, nice meeting you guys.
Go ahead and close the public portion. All right. New items to be discussed tonight. So we have in front of you, we have a copy of the UEZ 2025 administrative budget. Of course, I forgot my glasses tonight. Yeah, I did. You're my favorite. I can see. Okay. Amazing. So, for those of you who've been on the board before, this is pretty straightforward from prior years. There was a slight adjustment in the UEZ coordinator salary, for a small percentage cost of living increase on that. We added in here a operating, admin assistant for $22,000, should it be filled, to help as now we have funding and we have more programs that we need to be focused on. I'm gonna go through this real quick and then if there's questions, we can go through the questions. Membership in conventions, conference and travel, it's kind of a bucket of 3,000. Equipment, it's been in there in the past for 2,500. Consumables, etc. Training and legal services, and if anyone has any questions, like for instance, like weird numbers like 4206 for training and legal services, pretty much you get, I believe, like I think 10% of the budget of the allocation towards admin, and that's just math being divvied up to equal that number. And then obviously in the marketing side, still doing things like the billboards and put up and down, and signage, postage, mailings, etc. This has nothing to do with what we may be talking about from a potential project standpoint with the 5-year plan. This is just the annual administrative budget to operate. So, with that being said, anybody have any questions on that? And then we can ask Sean to elaborate on any one of those topics.
I have have one comment. We need to get some of this stuff a little bit early. You know, like, I think I just got an email yesterday that I actually missed.
Me too.
Yeah, that was my mistake. I can get that to you soon.
Good.
Yes, it will. In the future, absolutely.
Kyle, Nicole?
Did you really spend $40,000 on marketing, yeah? If they don't spend all this money, it's just, this is.
Your marketing.
Yeah,
It's the
okay,
budget.
all right.
If there's no questions on there, is there a motion to approve the budget?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Ms. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. DeFalco?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Pipes?
Yes.
Ms. Brenner? Yes.
All right, I talked about this topic a little bit earlier, and Lewis had brought up the question on number B on the loan project. We have, as Sean mentioned earlier, $304,000 in the give or take, $304,000 in 2023 allocation funding left. 2024 is 716, and 2025 is 967, give or take. We would like to close out, because we do need 3 years for each year to use. We'd like to take the total leftover 2023 budget number that we have, or allocated number for $300,000, and submit it to the state to go and use that for a good neighbor loan program. If approved, the state should allocate those funds to the UEZ, and then we'll be able to put that funding into our bank and realize the interest on that until such time that a loan is secured in that, as opposed to the state using dollars, or getting interest on that on their own.
What are the parameters on the good neighbor?
Sean, you.
Same as the.
Yeah, so just like what we did with the last two
Refilling,
loans.
just refilling the,
I know, but let me ask it this way. What's your average applicant applying for, how much? What's the range of loans, the range of amounts?
Well, we only had two.
Only had two so far.
What are we
So
looking at?
one was for 100,000, one was for 62,700.
Okay, is there any, have we decided if there's a particular size loan we wanna give or a maximum?
There should be a limit. Is there something that we need to determine based on how much we have in there? I mean, I know in the past, we've done loans, everything from which was a whole lot of money, and then we got paid back for that,
Yeah.
to, obviously, but, you know,
And
it ranges from a lot to nothing.
Substantial loans,
I mean, I would think that you probably wouldn't want to do that and leave that number up to the determination of the UEZ board, because you don't want to deter someone who may come and maybe to have a successful business, they come with a good business plan, like we've seen in the past, and they don't want $20,000, and then we cut off at 150, now we just pretty much shut ourselves in the foot.
this is a project just to replenish what we.
This is
what we
just,
used, really.
this is not,
Okay.
this is taking the money.
We're just getting it out of that,
Yeah.
that state bucket.
All right, we can get back in our bucket.
So we're
I'm a
making
step ahead of,
interest, not the state.
some discussion. And I just wanna know, going forward, what we're looking at doing, what kind of loans we're looking at, what are we gonna prioritize? Or is it's just case by case?
Well, the Good Neighbor Loan Program is a Good Neighbor Loan Program, so.
What's the minimum on these?
What is the minimum on that?
Like 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could be small projects.
I mean, 5,000 sometimes is what someone needs to start a small business, they have
Just
anything
give them the
else.
clients, they couldn't get it, yeah.
Okay.
But I think that, you know, we're very willing to, we have to make that determination, and I'd like
Correct.
to, make a motion that we, apply for these funds to be, transferred to Mount Holly.
Is there a second for that? Good. Make it easy, all in favor for this?
Aye.
Aye. All right, then again, back on the topic here of potential projects and discussions. Obviously, for those who are interested, next week, The state UEZ is gonna have their state meeting. I know we're supposed to be by Zoom, we're also supposed to get 12 inches of snow next week, between Monday and Friday, so who knows if people can draft their own houses, but God willing, that, that meeting takes place, they should approve our, 5-year plan that we submitted. Which means that we will then, under that umbrella that we have the opportunity to start talking about specific projects to design, outline, and submit to the state to get something going. Of those, like in the past, we talked about security cameras, officer foot patrols, marketing communications, grants and placemaking, and the new one that's on here is, event sponsorships. And I think I brought this up before in the past, was looking at designating a certain allocament of funds on an annual basis, where we had an application where nonprofits within the Mount Holly area, whether it's Main Street or the Recreation Department or some other third party, can apply for a set amount on an annual basis, and then we as a board will approve the funding for that, but it'll be a check, so it's not like they're hitting us up every time. So if the allocation is $5,000, they have $5,000 to use, and they can allocate it however they want in their budget for their stuff on an annual basis.
So you're not actually saying, sponsorship as of, you know, like, for the double dash at the high school where you
Correct.
have a sign saying, you know, Mount Holly UEZ. I know that many, you know, townships that have UEZs do utilize their funding in that way.
Well,
In
we
order
would,
to advertise
so
the UEZ.
part of this piece would be an application to us, as well as the appropriate, we probably get printed up as part of the marketing, some of those lawn signs or whatever, this is sponsored by UEZ, I like to see
Yeah.
it thing. And that would be part of the requirement, that they get displayed somewhere, for that. And, we have to meet as a group, determine on whether min and max is gonna be, and then a step application, so we have a design application, have to post it on the website and wherever media is out there, and then people can apply for it, and hopefully it can help offset some of the costs to run the events to help promote downtown, so that's the idea.
I think it's a great idea, because the fact is, bringing people in town, it's how people.
Correct.
Discover-
Right, the idea is not about, okay, so we just want to alleviate, give some people money to run an event. It's not about that, it's about helping continue the funding for the events that bring people downtown, that come to all the businesses
Yeah.
that have downtown. Whether it's fireworks, whether it's the parade, whether it's fire nights, whether it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
That nighttime thing where there was like ferries or something, and I don't know what it was, but something was down in Norris Village. But the point is, everyone can have some dollars to help offset these costs, but everyone has to burden or have to raise, so. That's the idea. Again, nothing's being determined right now, but this is the topic to kind of be discussed. They get approved. So, outside of those potential projects, does anybody have any questions about these additional topics I want to discuss? Obviously, we'll get into more finite.
Yeah,
once we get approved.
Once it is, our plan is approved by the state, will Sean develop the projects that we've indicated and bring them before the board ASAP?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Cool.
Well, we need to specify which ones you would like to
Correct,
focus on.
correct.
Yeah, and Sean, what did they say? They made a change recently where they wanted us to like now pick order of importance over the course of the 5 years. So we have like this, like, yes, like, well, year one, we're gonna work on this first, year two, this. Doesn't mean you have to, but you have to kind of tell them now in advance, like, here's the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
We'll do 4 first, 1 second, doesn't mean that you have to do that, they want you to submit now in order.
Which is fine, you know, but if we don't have a project ready to go, they won't fund it.
Well,
It happens. Trust me, it happens, and all of a sudden you get to the end of the year and you haven't turned any in.
hopefully they're working more efficiently in the state. One can hope.
Right, we submit the application to the state and
Yeah.
then, yeah, you know.
We have no real idea about turnaround at this point, so.
Typically, you have to get a project, application in 45 days before the, state's UEZ authority meeting.
So basically, if they
So that-
approve us next week,
Yeah.
and then it comes back, our next meeting, if we have at least a project that Sean put together before us, we could approve something, but remember, if we approved it, now the 45-day ticker starts, because you would make the next quarter, it'd be the following quarter.
And it doesn't have to go through the township council before it goes to typical turnaround time is probably 2 or 3 months. You need to
Okay.
approve here, approve at township
That's
council, then approve at the meeting.
Yeah.
So I would say 60, not.
If we have it right, hopefully we can do our approvals prior to a township council meeting, so we can get them on the agenda. Otherwise, we're jumping another month.
That funding is always a
Yeah.
major issue.
And we already have, 3 allocations that we have not used. 23, 24.
Right, so
25.
23 is gonna go to the loan, now we have the accumulated total of the 24 and 25.
Right.
So we wanna try to start using some of those funds for projects before we get the 26 number, which should be the same as 25, and then we're sitting. I'm not gonna complain, we're stockpiling money, but we're not gonna get the dollars
No.
until we have a project.
You gotta
They
do
just
this,
gotta
you
have
gotta
the
put it to
money.
work.
Right,
And they're 3-year dollars, meaning,
they want you to use it within 3 years allocation.
Yeah. If you don't use it within 3 years, you lose it.
It goes back to the fund forever.
And
And
then-
then the soul of Chris Christie lives on. She's the one that does it, so. If there's no other questions, I got more time, we'll just go on to the number 8, which is Josh, anything going on? Executive Director's report.
So I was just going to re-mention what you said about the UEZ Authority is meeting, they're going to look at our 5-year plan on Wednesday, February 12th. So I'll be on that meeting, they'll ask me, to explain the project, and then they will vote on it right there at that point.
Have they given you any,
Do you have a Zoom information link or anything after that meeting?
Sure, I can send it out.
Can you forward it to the whole board?
have they given you any?
You would have to call in, unless you're on the board or unless you're.
I'll speak your phone, that's fine.
Didn't have any problems with it when you set it up there, okay, that one.
Wait, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, so Wednesday's supposed to be the day we get 7 inches of snow, so.
Is it?
Talking.
That's a week away.
Snow.
The whole week, Nicole,
You see the shoes? You see
so
the-
just saying.
2 p.m.
The state uses the sits on the state UEZ board.
Actually, the chair is Leah Couch, she's from Mount Holly. I believe she went to Sacred Heart School.
Really?
Or maybe she's not, maybe she just went to Sacred Heart School, or she, but she's from.
What's her name?
Leah Couch.
All right, anything else, Ron?
No, I think that's it. And if anyone has anything specific that they want to, they would like me to investigate or, talk to someone about a project, just let me know, and I will, homework. I've gotten some information on security cameras, I've talked to the police department about cameras and foot patrol, and so.
Yeah, I would
we have
say
some
what-
things that are in the works, and we just have to figure out what we want to do.
Why don't you provide that information to the board, and then everyone, if you can, individually email Sean any specific projects that you want to see. And I think whichever one's, like, get the most calling, let's get that in front of us, so we can just move something forward from that beginning. And if we need to have a meeting or a work session before the next meeting to discuss this, so we're ready for it, let's just have the communication with Sean. I can be available with enough notice.
That's all from me, thanks.
All right, any members of the UEZ have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do. One of the things I was thinking about prior to coming here today is I hate to sound like, the broken record, but the creek, right? And I really think that we should look at how we could maybe set up a subcommittee of people who would look at sources of funding outside of UEZ.
That would probably fall under the Environmental Advisory Committee, and I know I spoke after the last council meeting, Rich Dow was just appointed on there, and he brought to me up, if you don't know Rich Dow, retired mayor, binder of thousands things. But tons of grants and stuff that DEP has for exactly where I think you're going with it.
Exactly.
It's gotta get done, but it's gotta go through like the environmental committee and then apply for these things. And he's all about applying for these dollars and getting it done, so, I would, if you want, I can arrange. a
Because
meeting.
our economic revitalization, a good part of that is the creek running through the town. It's big.
Yeah.
So that's great, yeah.
Trace, which is awesome.
Well, every all is awful. That's just that.
But every year it gets,
Yeah, I know.
instead of building in the paper, eventually it'll be.
Why don't, now that he's on there, let's do this one first for this. We'll get it going.
Great.
Because we can hear what he has, and then
Oh, yeah.
maybe you can help him go a certain way. Lori, anything?
Not today, no.
Kyle? Nicole?
Negative, what's right after?
Dawn? See? Thank you everyone for coming out. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Next meeting